Welcome to the Restorative Longevity Podcast, where we share how to increase your quality of life while also increasing your longevity. Yes, you heard that right. We refuse to believe that as we get older, our quality of life naturally declines. And that's exactly what you're going to hear on this podcast. How to defy the odds with simple, effective strategies that anyone can implement into their daily routine. From holistic health practices to time-tested wisdom, we're here to help you thrive, not just survive. Now let's welcome our host, Jimmy Yen, also known as the Acu Sensei. Jimmy is a licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, nutritionist, and restorative longevity expert dedicated to guiding you on your journey to vibrant health and lasting wellness.
Topic of today, the true root cause of all chronic disorders. And you may think, ooh, how can all chronic disorders have the same root cause? Well, they do. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. So I am the person who has created the Longevity 7, which helps people attain and achieve restorative longevity. And restorative longevity is not only being able, the word longevity means live longer, but that's not what this podcast is about. This podcast is about living longer, longevity, but restorative. So what's restorative mean? It means living a longer life, but a higher quality of life. So as you get older, your quality of life increases, it doesn't decrease, unlike what is the norm all around the world. So today's topic, the true root cause of all chronic disorders. I wrote I'm saying true because root cause is, especially now, and especially all across social media, all across the news, articles, everybody's saying root cause, root cause, root cause, root cause. And, they're right. No one's wrong. No one's wrong. I don't want to say anybody's wrong. I'm not here to debunk anybody saying anybody's wrong. I'm just giving you another perspective of how I view root cause. That's why I say the true root cause. Because the root cause is if you reversed it, if you truly found the root cause and you reversed it, then your body would return back to its original state. All of our bodies were born with the ability to heal itself. Most of us, I would say 99% of the population. When we were born as a baby, our bodies could regenerate. Our bodies could heal itself. That is our original state of healing itself. That is my definition of what I'm saying about root cause. Because if you really truly found the root cause and you fix that root cause, right? Everybody says, oh, cure, fix, right? Well, in my opinion, if you truly cured a problem, you really fixed the problem, it would return your body back to its original healing state. If it doesn't, then you didn't really cure the problem. You didn't fix the problem. What you did is you gave it a crutch. You gave your body a crutch. So now your body has to depend upon something in order just to heal, right? That, in my opinion, is not fixing the problem. It's not the root cause, right? If you have to take a pill in order for your body to heal, that kind of rhymes. If you have to take a pill in order for your body to heal, you didn't fix the problem, all right? You didn't cure the problem. You just band-aided the problem, right? So I want to take in the true root cause. This is inspired by, some of y'all have been if you've been watching social media, you've been seeing about this Dr. Casey Means and her brother Callie Means, right? This book, Good Energy. And so it inspired me to talk about this chronic disorder, what's the true root cause, because she actually talks about it, right? And which is great. I love that physicians are learning about this and finally learning about this, because this information is not new, right? And I'll get into a little bit about that, but in alignment with how I do these podcasts, what's the point of this podcast? What is the point of this podcast? Here's the point, all right? Get ready, write it down. What is the true root cause? That's the question. Here's the answer, and that's the point. It is chronic inflammation. The true root cause of every 99.9%, the true root cause of all chronic degenerative disorders, conditions, it doesn't matter what you have, it is chronic inflammation. That is the point of today's podcast, okay? Again, now coming back to explaining everything, right? I love that Dr. Casey Means is talking about chronic inflammation. She's not the first physician who has talked about it. She's not the first practitioner, right? Physicians are not the only people who know about health, right? I love physicians, and I'm not trying to put down physicians, but the way that the medical industry has educated the public is, they educate the public to make the public think that physicians, Western medicine physicians are the god of health. Like, they know everything. They know more than most people about health, and that's not true. They know a lot about health, right? But they're not the end all be all, right? Because and Dr. Casey Means talks about it. This is not my opinion. This is from a physician. She talks about it, that doctors are not trained in health, right? Doctors are not trained in health. They're trained to prescribe medication, and they're trained to perform surgery, which I'm going to go over one of her case studies that she talks about in here. Does any one type of healthcare practitioner know everything about health? No. And I'm not saying as a Chinese medicine practitioner and acupuncturist that I know everything about health. That's not what I'm saying either. I think you need to get information. Depending on your goal, you need to seek the right healthcare practitioner, right? And so coming back to this, she talks about, this is very early on in the book, right? She talks about that she's frustrated. She was a trained ear, nose, and throat surgeon. So any type of ear, nose, and throat problems, right? She was treating, and she had patients with sinus issues. And she goes over one of her cases that she realized that she was not helping the patient, right? She was doing everything that she was trained to do, but she was not helping her patient at all, right? And so she talks about what is chronic inflammation. So let's come back to inflammation in general is a good thing. Inflammation is the body's natural healing response. You want inflammation. For example, if you twist your ankle, guess what? Your ankle swells up. What is happening during that whole situation? You twist your ankle swells up. Why? That's because your body is trying to heal it. It's sending all the troops it needs to that area, to send it to the ankle, and so that it can heal and repair the area. So once it sends its troops, it sends the ambulance, it sends its doctors, it sends its acupuncturists, it sends its chiropractors, it sends its massage therapists, it sends all of its healing troops to that ankle, and they mend the area, heal the area. And then when they're done, the normal situation is those troops go back home, right? And so if they don't, that's a normal reaction. And then you'll see it when you twist your ankle and it heals, the swelling naturally goes down eventually, right? I'm saying that even if you don't put ice on it, right? You don't put ice, you just let it, you don't compress it. You just let it heal like the body was supposed to do, right? You do that, normally the ankle just starts to shrink. And that means when the ankle shrinks, that means the troops, your healing troops, are all going back home. They're going back to their station, their base, right? Because they've done their job. Now, what is chronic inflammation? Chronic inflammation is those troops do not go home. They stay there. They stay at the ankle. And guess what? Your ankle stays swollen. It may have shrunk a little, but it stays swollen, right? That's what happens when it's chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is basically your healing troops do not go home. They sit and squat. They squat and wait. They stay at the ankle. They sit there, they poop, they pee, they eat, right? And they just produce more toxins in that area. So guess what happens? All of those toxins start to degenerate, start to eat at your own cells, because when they go there, they don't have any food to eat. So they start eating itself, right? And that's when people start developing things called rheumatoid arthritis. What is rheumatoid arthritis? It's an autoimmune condition. What is an autoimmune condition? It's when your body starts to eat itself. And that's what happens when you have chronic inflammation. When you have chronic inflammation, your body starts to eat itself. Okay? That's what when you can say destroy itself. I'm using, and I hope y'all, those of y'all who are following me, well, first of all, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button so you can get all this. Those of you who haven't followed me for a long time, you'll kind of you're gonna be like, oh, why is this guy using so simple terminology, right? That's how I explain things. One of the gifts that God gave me is the ability to simplify things, and that's what I feel like the reason why the public doesn't know how to take care of their own health is because the medical society, we like to use big terminology, and that confuses people, right? And when it confuses people, people don't understand. And when you as a lay person, a patient, so to speak, the public, when you don't understand something about medicine, about health, guess what? Then you are dependent. You become dependent upon someone. I'm not trying to make you become dependent upon me. My goal is to empower you so that you can take control of your own health like God created it to be, okay? So coming back to the troops don't leave your ankle. They stay there, they camp, they make a home there, they run out of food, so they start eating your own body, eating your own cells. That's how you start develop. Now, when you eat, even your own troops, right? Your current troops eat your own ankle. Well, then your body, your brain, which is your central nervous system, it is going to say, whoa, what just happened? Something is attacking me. Something is attacking the body. So it's going to send new troops to the ankle. Those new troops are going to start attacking your own cells, right? Maybe I should draw this. I hope this makes sense. And for those of y'all who have questions about, but how do I have an autoimmune condition like this? Will this apply? Yes. If you have an autoimmune condition, what I'm telling you right now applies to you. We have this ankle. Here's your toes. Here's your heel. Here's your foot. Okay. Here's your ankle. Okay. So the acute. So here's inflammation. Okay. I'll use red as. So when you twist your ankle, your brain, your CNS, your brain, is going to send your troops to heal it. Your ankle swells up, okay? And your troops are supposed to heal it, fix it, blah, blah, blah. So this is a normal inflammation, normal situation. Now, when these troops, they should go home. But when they don't go home, they end up staying in this ankle. Now, when they came to the ankle in the first place, they brought their supplies, they brought their food, so they were ready and prepared. But now chronic inflammation is they stay there. So now these troops, they're staying here and they're short supply staying here. So they've used all of their water, they use all their food, and now they're running out of supplies. So when they run out of supplies, then they still need to eat, right? So they're going to start eating your ankle, your bones. Now, this can be any of your rheumatoid arthritis. I know there's a question about Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. This could be Hashimoto's. This can be ALS. This could any type of autoimmune condition, right? So just imagine it's happening somewhere else in your body. So the principle is the same. They stay here in this area, and this becomes chronic inflammation. That's what chronic inflammation is. Your troops that were originally sent here to heal, they don't leave. And then they produce toxins. They poop and pee. So if you poop and pee, and let's say you poop and you pee all over your house, not in your toilet, but all over your house, what is that going to do to your house? It's going to stink up your house, right? It's going to actually eat up at your walls, your floors. Well, that's what's happening. That's what happens when your troops don't go away and there's chronic inflammation. Your poop and their pee, they start eating. So you have degeneration. So your joints are getting, it's like degeneration is like acid, battery acid. It's like pouring acid on your joints and your tendons and muscles, right? So it's degenerating them. And then that could cause autoimmune conditions for your muscles, autoimmune conditions for your nerves, for your tendons, okay? And it can be for your organs, same thing, right? This is also how cancer starts, right? So these troops and they start eating, and these troops start eating your body cells. So then your brain is like, whoa, something is attacking my ankle again. So I'm going to send these new troops. These new troops, right? They're going to be like, oh, they see these old troops, these purple troops, as enemies. So they start attacking it. But here, you remember, these purple troops, they are your own cells. These purple troops are your own cells. So now your new cells are attacking your old cells, but it's still you. So your body's attacking itself. This is what we call, ladies and gentlemen, autoimmune. Do all chronic conditions lead to chronic inflammation, lead to autoimmune? No, they don't. But I just wanted to use this as an example. So hopefully this illustration makes sense. Thank you for those of you who are putting in the comments. If this does not make sense, please put in the comments and let me know in the live chat. So Shamim said, inflammation, how do you get it put of your body? I have Parkinson's, dystonia, L5, spondylosis, arthritis. Yeah, so you want to decrease, right? So if we look at this example of, this is how chronic inflammation, right? This is the development of chronic inflammation. So this is chronic. So if we see this, how to fix it is the same for every chronic disorder, right? You figure out why these troops right here, why are they not going home? Why are they not going home? There's many reasons why, right? There's many different reasons why. But the root cause is these troops aren't going home. Now, there's different things that you can do, and we'll go into that, right? But I wanted to get you need to first understand this, because if you don't understand this, then what you're going to do is you're going to reach for a pill. You're going to be told by physicians, oh, you just need to take you need to take a steroid. And we know what's happening with the opioid crisis. These are anti-inflammatories. This is what you're going to hear, not just from physicians, but all practitioners. You're going to say, you need to take some anti-inflammatories, right? If you go to a physician, you'll get steroids, you'll get something called NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, but they're all different types of anti-inflammatory, right? But those things, they don't fix this. They just, you know what they do? They tell these troops, they don't deploy them. They say, they tell the brain, hey, don't deploy any more of these good troops. That's what happens. And if you talk to a holistic practitioner, they'll still say take anti-inflammatories. They'll say, hey, you got to take this supplement, blah, 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 right? Those don't fix the problem. Let me come back to the book, because I wanted to go over this book, right? That Dr. Casey Means was going over. Remember, she's an ENT. So she's an ENT. And so she said she had this patient that had the sinus issues, right? And as an ENT, this is what she was told. This is how she was trained. A surgeon, ear, nose, and throat surgeon. This is how she was trained to treat her patients. First thing she says, often the process includes oral, nasal, intravenous, inhaled, or topical anti-inflammatories. That's exactly what I just explained, right? Anti-inflammatory medication. So you're given Flonase, steroid, prednisone, you're given all those kinds, right? To basically suppress the immune system. So when people say they're suppressing, like, of cancer patients, right? Cancer patients, they'll take some autoimmune, let's just say autoimmune. Autoimmune people, if you have autoimmune like Hashimoto's, rheumatoid arthritis, ALS, you will be given immune suppressant. What is immune suppressant? It is preventing your brain from sending those new inflammatory troops out, right? Remember those red troops that I drew out? It's these immune suppressant medications, they prevent your brain from sending out new troops, right? And that's why it doesn't solve the problem, right? Because you need those troops, right? And then she says, okay, after she gives those medications, eventually those medications will fail. Because why? Because you got to keep taking them. You can't just take them once and it solves the problem. Because taking the medications, the anti-inflammatory medications, they don't retrain your brain to heal your body itself by itself again. Remember, now, those of y'all who, love research, current research, and want to say that I'm wrong, you're right. You're absolutely right. So I'm not here to tell you who's right or wrong. I'm just here to give you a different perspective and a different way of how to live your life. And this is coming from a physician. So this is not coming from my mind. This is coming from, I'm just reading straight out of this book, right? What happens from a physician standpoint in medicine. So they give the anti-inflammatories, they don't work. They help, but they don't work because you got to keep taking them. And then eventually when you take enough of them, it stops working, right? So then she says, then what's the next level? So when the medications, when a physician gives you the medications, they go through all the different types of medications, they help, this may be years, right? Years of taking medication. Eventually what's going to happen, this is what she said, eventually what's going to happen is they don't work and you're going to need surgery. And what does she do as a ear, nose, and throat surgeon? She says they start creating holes in a patient's body to reduce obstruction caused by inflammation and let inflammatory fluid drain. Did y'all hear that? So they put holes in the patient's body to reduce obstruction caused by inflammation. What she's saying is those medications do not fix inflammation. That's what she is saying. Right? Because if they did, we wouldn't get to this point where she'd have to put holes in people in their skull, right? So let's see, sometimes we would intervene mechanically to force the anatomy out of the way of swelling. We might insert tubes in your ear. Have you ever had tubes in your ear? We might insert tubes through the eardrum to let fluid drain. What was the cause of all this? Chronic inflammation was the cause. You got to fix that. But as an ENT, they're not trained to fix the root cause. They're only trained to give you relief of symptoms, but you will have those forever, right? It doesn't fix it. She says, we'll drill through the skull bones to release trapped pus and increase a balloon. Let me come back to that. She will drill through, I'm reading this word for word, drill through the skull bones to release trapped pus. What is that pus? Remember when I drew the ankle and I said those old troops, they were staying at the ankle, they were pooping, peeing? That is the pus. Can y'all see, do y'all understand this? Is this making sense? I hope this is making sense. I'm trying to make this very simple, right? That trapped pus is those original troops that did not go home. They're squatting there and they're just pissing, pooping, generating waste, and it's generating pus. And those medications that Dr. Casey Means prescribed, those anti-inflammatories, they helped temporarily, but they didn't solve the problem, right? Then she says, she says right here, this is on page 7 for those of you who have the book. The medications and surgery would temporarily turn the inflammation off or minimize the effects. She said temporarily, right? But the tissues would often swell again, so things would come back, or the pus would collect once more in whatever area was blocked. Everything would just come back. The point is, even the surgery, the medication, the surgery for your autoimmune condition, it doesn't fix it. That's why that's why it may prolong your life, but your quality of life decreases. That is the current definition of longevity right now. People are so like, I want to live longer, right? Well, so I take medications, I do surgery so I can live longer, I do stem cell, I do all this, other medical treatments to live a longer life, but your quality of life is sucking as you get older. This is the cause. Dr. Casey Means is saying it in page 7 of her book. And here's the thing. This is what she said, it wasn't in our job description as medical professionals to look for why inflammation kept returning. Now, I'm reading this word for word. It wasn't in, this is a physician, a popular physician right now. She was invited to the Senate to speak about health in the US. She says in her book, it wasn't in our job description as medical professionals to look for why inflammation kept returning. So like I drew in my ankle example, why are those troops not returning back home? Medical professionals, according to Dr. Casey Means, says they're not trained to do that. They're not trained to look at the root cause of why inflammation keeps coming back, right? Again, I know I'm just like repeating the same thing over and over, and some of y'all are like, yeah, I know chronic inflammation, yeah, but how do I fix it? We're gonna go over that. You gotta subscribe to this podcast. We're gonna go over that. Now, for those of y'all who are more advanced and you already know chronic inflammation, bear with me. I have to say all these. I have to lay the foundation out because not everybody knows that. Not everybody, not every physician knows that. Not every physician is like Dr. Casey Means, who has been her eyes, who was treating patients and realized that she wasn't helping them. Not many physicians are like her, right? So I have to explain this so that the people, for those of y'all who already know this, thank God you already have the information, but not everybody knows. I would say majority of the population, especially here in the US, do not know this information. And so I'm so thankful that doctors like Dr. Casey Means, Dr. Mark Hyman, they are all talking about physicians who were trained in medication surgery are saying, hey, what we were trained in medical school, it doesn't help. It doesn't solve the problem, right? It doesn't cure the problem. And so chronic inflammation is the inability of your troops to return home. How do you solve that? Is to get your troops to return home. Now, there are many strategies, right, that we can do. Well, what caused it to begin with? What caused your troops to stay there? That's the root cause, right? I would say even beyond chronic inflammation, what caused your troops to stay there and destroy your own tissue, right? That is the root cause. And that goes to, from those of y'all who've watched my previous podcast, the Longevity 7. So the answer, some of y'all are really, well, how do I do it? How do I prevent this chronic inflammation from starting in the first place? That's one thing. Or you already have chronic inflammation. How do I decrease it? And how do I fix it? Decrease it by fixing it. Not decrease it by taking a pill, not decreasing it temporarily, but how do I decreasing it long term? It's the Longevity 7, or some of y'all who, even worse, you're in a worse off condition. You've already had the chronic inflammation. It's been 10 years, 20 years. You already have the autoimmune condition. You already have the cancer. You already have the stage 3 kidney disorder. You already have the fatty liver. You already have the diabetes. What do I do next? Short answer is the Longevity 7. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go into details about the Longevity 7. It's something that I created and it's something that we use for our patients at our clinic in Cedar Park, Texas. We've had phenomenal success. We're the #1 rated acupuncture and wellness clinic in the entire US, right? We have over 725-star Google reviews. That's the system that we use at our clinic, the Longevity 7. And we'll go into more details about that. I'm going to answer some questions and see if you type in questions in the chat. Please, so what do you get completed healing? Let's see, for 7 years from a plane ride, I am dizzy 24/7. I also have Hashimoto's, cervical spine stenosis, scoliosis, bulging disc, all the way down your lumbar. Oh, sorry to hear that. I was a normal person until I went on an airplane and became chronically dizzy. I still work full time. I can't give up. Don't give up. Do not give up. I haven't discussed grounding, but grounding is definitely, I can say, is something you definitely need to do. Because we are electrical beings. We are beings of electricity. That's what it means. We have positive, we have negative, right? And grounding helps balance I like to say it helps balance our electricity, right? Grounding is just basically walking on soil, right? The natural ground, not soil that other, that people brought from somewhere and just threw it on somewhere on some floor, getting into nature, right? But I won't go into too much detail now, but I just want to focus this podcast on chronic inflammation. That is the root cause. So you want to start doing things. Go back to my Longevity 7 the introduction of that, and that will tell you what we're going to be talking over in Longevity 7. I've also talked about, fats in a previous podcast. We'll be going more in detail about that. We'll be going to a lot of detail, okay? But I want to get everybody up to date, up to speed before we continue on the details, because the details, although I can make it super simple, it still might start confusing people and get a little complex. Again, I'll do my best to keep it simple. But things that you can do, chronic inflammation, besides my longevity, well, it's part of my Longevity 7. Here's the last tidbit, and I will leave y'all with this, okay? Stop doing things that are inflammatory. And this may seem like a common sense. Stop doing things that inflame you. This starts with what you put in your mouth. Sugar, okay? High amounts of animal protein. I know some people are going to argue with me, and I'm not here to argue with you. If you believe this, if you believe animal protein is the godsend and you believe animal protein is the solution, good for you. This is not that podcast. The carnivore diet, right? Terrible for you if you're talking about inflammation. I'm talking about long term. I know I get messages all the time saying, oh, recent research shows that carnivore diet does this and that and blah, 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 right? And you're true. It's true. It has a short-term benefit. Just like what I was just talking about Casey Means. She just said her training provides solutions that are temporary. I'm not looking, and this podcast is not about temporary solutions. This podcast is about restorative longevity, long-term solutions. So until the carnivore diet can show me after 100 years of research that it's still working, then I'll believe it. But for me, I don't, because it hasn't been, I have not seen any type of research that shows a carnivore diet can help a group, hundreds of thousands of people, live a higher quality of life and a longer life. So animal protein in general, anything, dairy products, sugar, these are all inflammatory. They will cause your troops to stay in your gut, in your joints, and your troops will not go back home. So those are the things that you need to stop eating. Stop eating those things. Those are causing your chronic inflammation. What you put in your mouth causes chronic inflammation. There are other things that cause chronic inflammation. Sitting. COVID caused all of us to work from home, sit a lot, right? Many people work from home, sit a lot. Sitting causes chronic inflammation. You need to adjust your daily living so that you don't provide an environment for chronic inflammation, right? So those are just some things, okay? Does chronic inflammation affect fertility? Absolutely. Absolutely. Chronic inflammation. Absolutely, right? So there's so many different things. Chronic inflammation causes all chronic disorders, right? Now, one last point, genetics. Some people may say, oh no, it's genetics that is the cause of my whatever disorder, right? And I'm not saying you're wrong. Genetics can cause some things, but from another Lisa Mascani, who is a scientist from the Alzheimer's prevention. She's the associate director of the Alzheimer's Prevention Clinic in the Weill Cornell Medical College in New York. Everybody thinks Alzheimer's is most, even doctors, many physicians think Alzheimer's is genetic, right? What she has found, there's a small percentage that people who have Alzheimer's is genetically caused, but majority of it is lifestyle. It's how you live your life. Majority of Alzheimer's mental dementia is caused by how you live your lifestyle. And that's the Longevity 7. That's what we're going to go over. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I know we went overboard a little. I usually just try to keep this to 20, 30 minutes, but I get excited when I talk about these things because I just want to help more people. And so make sure you subscribe. I'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, Sundays, 8:30 Central Standard Time. See you here. Peace.